So, warning on this video, do not get overwhelmed because you don't have to do all of this, but I just want you to understand what are your options. What can you choose? But as I've said in other videos, you can just say, Paul, I want a Defender, build it for me, and just tell me what I need. And I can definitely do that. But if you're the type that likes to have options, let me tell you just a few of the options that you have. The first option we decide on, of course, is the color. What color do you want? What color combo? Soft top, not soft top, hard top? But then we move into, do you want a roll cage, roll bars, internal roll cage, external roll cage? Do you want to, we're going to the windshield here, or the windscreen to be proper. Do you want heated? Do you want non-heated windscreen? Moving outside, do you want a Puma bonnet, which is the raised bonnet here, or do you want a Heritage bonnet, which is a thinner bonnet and actually has the invert in it, so it's a little more slimline, the original design? Do you want checker plate here, the black checker plate, the silver checker plate? Do you want this type of a vent, which this goes into your air box, something that's like looks mean and angry like this, or do you want a flat one, or do you want the traditional one? Wheel arches, also called eyebrows. Do you want this standard one that allows us where we can paint it, make it nice and shiny, or do you want the more of the rubber looking one? Do you want a wider one, or do you want the one that looks like in the James Bond on the Spectre vehicles, which is super wide? What type of tires do you want? Do you want a BF Goodrich that's like this, that looks somewhat angry? Or do you want a Maxxis Trepador tire, which looks really angry? And what size? Do you want this size? Do you want a 35-inch? Do you want lift? This is a standard height, but we can lift it 2 inches without having to do anything crazy to the suspension, and it drives fine. Step-up bars. Do you want this type of a step-up bar, or do you want a step that's actually a step? No step-up bars. Do you want checker plate on the side? No checker plate. Do you want a vent like this, or do you want a more classic vent? Do you want the mirror backs to be painted or not painted? So as you can see, there's a lot of different options. Some other options, hinges on the windscreen. By the way, the windscreen, the windshield does not fold down, but that's an option. We can make it fold down. If you want painted hinges, or do you want aluminum, like a polished aluminum or a brushed aluminum, or do you want a black anodized aluminum? Door handles, do you want the classic hard plastic door handles like this one has, or do you want black aluminum or a brushed aluminum? So you can see that there's a lot of options. Moving to the front, do you want marker lights that are clear, or do you want marker lights that actually are the orange in the clear and then the red in the back? Do you want the headlight bucket like this where it's black? These are LED or HID lights, and we can do them where the back of them's chrome. What type of grille, what type of headlight surrounds, what type of bumper? Do you want the oval lights, or do you want the 2 round lights? Do you want a nudge bar? Do you want a winch? Move into the motor. Do you want a larger turbo? Do you want a larger radiator? Do you want a larger intercooler? So a lot of different options. We can even do colored silicone hoses to match your favorite whatever color. Interior, seating configuration, you decide that. What type of leather do you want? What do you want in the back? Do you want storage in the back, like roll-out cabinets, or do you want side cabinets? Spare tire, how do you want it? Do you want the tire carrier, or do you want the tire in the back? So rear bumper is deciding, do you want a step-up bumper? Do you want the NAS style bumper, or do you just want to keep it clean with nothing on the back? Exhaust system, do you want the Helderburg signature exhaust system, or do you want the classic OEM exhaust system? Shocks, springs, brakes, we do brake upgrades. So the sky's the limit, guys. You can have whatever you want. If you've watched this video to this point, I can tell you like a lot of options, and we have a lot of different options. Again, you can decide everything, even the door handles and the gear knob. So let me tell you the difference between soft tops. First, I want to start with the roll bar system. So every soft top requires a roll bar system. So what we do when we're building a soft top is we remove the top. So every one of our D90s or D110s, depending wherever we're doing the soft top, it comes with a hard top first, meaning that there's a hard top and we pull it right off. So they're actually bolted on, pull it off, and then we go with the roll bar system. On this one, what you'll notice, let me get that out for you guys. It's an internal roll bar system. So the bars are inside the vehicle. You don't see a bar that's coming out right here. And I'm going to show on the screen, I'm going to show you an external roll bar system, and you'll see that the bar comes out here in the top above the door and then wraps around, and there's a bar that's above the windscreen, and then there's a bar that comes down below the windscreen, and then it bolts right here. So that's the external. That's considered more of a NAS style roll bar system, which what it does is it just makes the vehicle look a little more rugged, I guess you could say, when this system makes it look a little more classic, a little more streamlined. The benefit of this system versus the NAS system is it's a lot easier to wash the car, wash the vents, get the bugs off the vents. The other one, it's kind of hard to get behind the bar. You can do it, but it's a little more difficult to do it. This system too, it's my feeling that inside it's a little higher in the back, so it gives you more headroom in the back. So again, this is an internal system, and then the one on the red one that I show on the screen is an external system. So that's the difference. So it has multiple points, and you'll inside right here is a bar, and this bar comes all the way down inside the truck and bolts all the way to the frame. So it's a real functional roll bar. So if you were to roll the vehicle, it is a safety support. It's going to provide support, but it's the one bar right here that is where it's actually attached. And then it has bars, of course, here and then in the very back. This is the only bar it goes to the frame. The NAS style, where the bar comes across and then bolts here, it goes down to the frame. So it has a 4-point system if you were to roll. So the question I get asked a lot of times is, can you have a soft top and a hard top? And the answer is yes, you can. You can do both. There is a company that makes a fiberglass top that will go on, that you could pull this top off, which by the way, this top is really easy to pull off. It's not much to it. It takes you about 15 minutes, and then you could put the fiberglass top on. But I will forewarn you, trying to get a top from that company is kind of hard. They just don't seem to respond very well. But then there's a couple other companies out there. For example, one of them would be locally, Rover's North in Vermont could source a top for you. We don't source the hard top and the soft top. We give you the choice, do you want the soft top or do you want the hard top? With this soft top, with this type of system, you can take it off, just pull it off, store it in the garage. It doesn't take up much space. It's easy to get off. And then you can do what's called a bimini top. A bimini top is just really a piece of canvas that's just over the driver and the passenger. Here it covers up that, and then it has a strap system that just runs down and runs to the back. So the entire back area, you see this entire roll bar system here. It's all open, it just creates more light. The bimini top, you can also get that from a company like Rover's North, or you can order it at the time that we're doing your bespoke build, and you can decide any color. So you could have two soft tops, full soft top like this, and then you could have a bimini top. So the question I'm asked about is noise. How noisy is a soft top? Well, it's really no different than if you have a convertible car. I mean, a truly convertible car, not one that actually has the hard kind of looking fake soft top. So if you have a truly convertible car, then your noise is going to be about the same. If you've ever driven a Jeep Wrangler that has a soft top, it's comparable. It's pretty much the same thing. But again, this top, where you see this one, compared to the other one on Santorini, this is an internal roll bar system. That one is an external roll bar system. And you'll also notice on this top versus Santorini, as it has the lights or the windows up here, this top puts so much more light into the back of the truck. It's absolutely amazing. So it's up to you. Do you like these, basically these windows up here, or do you not like these windows? This top only comes on an internal roll bar system currently, but they're always building new stuff, so that's subject to change. And what I mean by this top is the one with the windows. So I hope that clears it up about soft tops. Soft tops are a lot of fun, and yeah, you can take it off and have the roll bars and feel very beach cruiser-like. I'm asked oftentimes, what is this right here? What are these vents? And that's exactly what they are, is they're vents. So this is your fresh air vent. Let me kind of point this out though. It's really easy. There's a lever in here, and now you have fresh air. It's that easy. So the one thing that you'll notice about the vents and the things that we do is we replace the seals. There's foam seals under here. We make sure that the cables are working, because a lot of times people don't use these, and if they're not used for several years, they don't really open up so well, and then the foam just kind of falls apart. But again, it's just a lever. It's a great way to just get fresh air. It's really cool. It's retro. It's what it is. So we paint the backside. We put new stainless steel bolts in here, basically hinges, and redo that. So that's what it is. It's air vents. It's a fun little thing to do. I'm also going to point out vents here. I'm asked about these vents in addition. So what this vent is it's a fresh air intake vent that goes into the air box. And sometimes you will see these vents change from side to side. Generally, why they change from side to side, it's dependent if the truck is a right-hand drive or a left-hand drive. Same thing with this vent too, that this vent is a functional vent that's going into the air box again. And on the left side, that's not a functional vent. There's nothing to it, so it's basically a dummy plate. Again, it depends on right-hand drive versus left-hand drive, because on a right-hand drive, then the engine components are on the other side, or the airbox components are on the other side, and then the power steering box is on this side. So that's where, if this is a left-hand drive, generally this vent is functional. If it was a right-hand drive, then the functional vents would be on the opposite side. So it's a lot of vents. So we're in a D90. How much room is in a D90? And the first thing I want to point out is this is a bench seat. So you have the options between bench seats or bucket seats, and I'll show you the difference between the two on screen here, but focused on the bench seats. The one thing you'll notice about the bench seat is it's not as deep. The bucket seat is a deeper seat, meaning it comes out further under your legs, but the bench seat gives you more width. It's a little wider than with the bucket. The bucket's just very fitting right here, comes out farther than if you're using buckets. The person sitting across from you, your knees, you guys are like really knee to knee. With the bench seats, you can have another adult sitting across on this side if you choose, and of course you can have 4 adults back here, but there's more leg room with bench seats versus bucket seats when you have multiple adults. If you have 2 adults back here, not a problem at all. And if it's 4 adults, then if you're using buckets, it is going to be a little more confined versus the benches. A benefit of benches over buckets is you only have the one piece here, so it's one piece of, actually hardware, and this folds up out of the way to provide more room, and the room in here, so if you have dogs, it's easier, because if your dogs like to jump around, then chances are they're going to jump on the buckets, the seats are going to come down, there's a strap that holds them, but these seem to be a little more secure and staying up. So which design do you like better is really up to you. And I think it really depends on how often are you going to have passengers in the back. If you have young kids, then buckets are going to be fine. It's a nice option, or even teenage kids, buckets are going to be good. But if you're not using the seats very often, I would say go with the bench. You'll save money. And if no one's really using it, then why do it? In this truck, what we did is the front is all leather. I mean, this is nice bespoke leather, but in the back we did vinyl just to cut some cost, because there's only going to be a couple dogs back here and that's it. So seat belts, yes, you do have seat belts here. So you have your waist seat belt that's for the bench and the bucket. You cannot do shoulder seat belts here. Federal government won't allow it. It's illegal. You just can't do it. So if you see that on Instagram with somebody with the shoulder belt, just know that if it comes through customs going to flag it, and they're going to hold that truck until it's removed. It's up to you if you want to do it after the fact. And I'm talking about this because I'm asked this quite often, but a shoulder belt does not really help you. The shoulder belt was designed for a forward impact to keep the person from going forward. But in a Defender, if you're sitting this way and you have a forward impact, that shoulder belt's doing nothing, so there's no reason for it. But the waist belt's going to keep your passengers in place. So bench seating, you see how I'm sitting. I don't have as much room under my legs. I could sit back here comfortably, for whatever, half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, even a little longer. Headroom, I have a couple inches here, not a lot of room. I am sitting up, I'm not having to slouch, but if it was only 2 adults, I could get a little more comfortable, spread my legs out. The area right here, though, in the size of a D90 is the same as in a D110. It's 3 feet by 4 feet. So if you're trying to decide whether or not you can carry golf clubs, just know it's 3 feet by 4 feet in a D90 and a D110. In the D110, though, you have the option, because where you would have your second row seats, you could have a 60-40 split, which would be a full bench seat, which would 60-40 split and fold forward. Or you could pull the rear seats out completely if you don't have the need for any passengers and make it basically a 2-seater. So on that. So bench seats, bucket seats, it's going to be personal preference, but it's also going to be how often do you use them? If you're not going to use them often, I say go with the bench seats, save some money, fold them up, get them out of the way, and keep the storage space open.